So, welcome. Welcome back. Welcome back to Shelf Life.
Yeah.
I'm Val.
I'm Leah.
If for some reason you watched the first episode and you're back for the second, I'm not really sure why. Episode 1 was a little rough.
Yeah. We're learning.
Yeah, we had so much fun editing though. We laughed like the entire time because we were just like,
Yep.
What are we saying? What are we doing?
Yeah,
This
we're
is
just
crazy.
making fun of ourselves, basically. But if you are here for the second, thank you for sticking with us.
Yes, thank you. And I promise that we'll get better. Hopefully.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
For today, I forgot our audio, like our mics, so we're hoping that this is good enough.
Yeah.
But
Crossing our fingers.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll be fine.
yeah, it'll be okay.
If you can't hear us, sorry about it.
So today we're gonna be talking about We Were Liars. Yeah. But before we get into that, we're gonna share our little coffee orders.
Yes.
And also today we're at the Grindhouse in Holman. It's just a cutie little shop.
I've never been here before. This is my first time, so.
I've been. I like it.
What did you get?
I got the Dolce de Leche latte with almond milk. It's like Dolce de Leche, hazelnut, and mocha or something. I don't remember. But it's pretty good. Let me take another sip. Back to the ASMR. I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I got the Neapolitan mocha, which I've drank like half of it already. It's just like mocha, strawberry, and vanilla. And I also got half syrup, so to be honest, it kind of just tastes like coffee. But
Yeah.
it's good. I don't know. I'll give it a 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Sure. Why
All
not?
right. Okay, so ready to get into it?
I think so.
Yeah. So, brief little synopsis from what I remember from the book. So We Were Liars is essentially about this wealthy family that owns their own like private island, and they spend the summers there. And yeah, it kind of like follows the kids' perspectives. So there's the grandfather and then the grandmother. And the grandmother passes away in the beginning, I believe. And then they have 3 daughters.
Yes.
So 3 daughters total.
I think so.
And then all the daughters have kids. And then it's basically like the kids are, it's told through the kids' perspectives. But yeah, where do I go from that?
I guess it kind of follows like the main character. The story's kind of told in like flashbacks. She basically has this accident and doesn't really know like what happened. She doesn't remember much of anything. But it's told in kind of like flashbacks, going through like looking at like the different summers and just like basically her trying to kind of like recall her memories and like understand why everyone's acting really weird around her and why her memory isn't adding up with what things are going on and whatever. Yeah, I mean, big disclaimer. I read this book like, I don't know, like 3, 4 years ago. I don't know. So I did some spark notes this morning. I don't know when you read it either, but it's.
I think I read it like 3 months ago, so it's still
we're
kind
a
of
little rough. We're a little. It's a little rough.
Yeah.
Our memories aren't impressive.
No. I remember there is, like, of the 4 main kids, there's Cadence, Johnny, Gat, and Miriam,
Yep.
I believe. And Gat and Cadence kind of have, like, a little, like, romance thing going on, so...
Important thing, Gat is not related to her.
No, he's not.
He's not a cousin.
I guess I forgot about that, yeah.
I think he's Johnny?
Yeah.
I think he's Johnny's friend.
Yeah, and he's kind of like, he just comes every summer. I forget why it started, but they kind of kept the tradition going. And
Yeah.
I don't fully remember how he came into the picture, but basically Cadence and Gat have like a little thing, and that's brought up a couple different times throughout because Cadence, like, they want to get together, but Gat has a girlfriend, and then the whole like accident happened, and that's like when Cadence comes back that next summer, she's like, it almost makes you think that Gat and Cadence are gonna get together because they start getting like more friendly, and Gat doesn't have the girlfriend anymore and all of that jazz. But then at the end it kind of just like
well, and he's acting super like weird kind of throughout the like that next summer, like he's being very distant from Cadence, and just kind of not acting like himself. Honestly, like none of the book is called We Were Liars because the four of them are like nicknamed the Liars, like that's what their group is. So like when Cadence comes back, like all of the liars are like not really acting like the same, like she's like tried to get in contact with them and nobody's really like kind of like reciprocating, like they're just being very distant from her, and she like doesn't really understand why.
Even like they call the smaller children the littles, and even the littles, like when they come back that next summer, are acting very strange around Cadence, and like they're just like more secretive, and I don't know, they make comments that about like her situation or like about what's going on, but nobody will actually tell her anything else. Essentially she just has to like figure it out for herself. Like that's what her doctors advised her mother to do. Just like, don't tell her what happened, just let her figure it out.
The St. Clair family, like that's like their last name, that's what they're called. They have a really, really like hush hush, don't talk about their problems sort of like dynamic with each other. Like a lot of them suffer with like addiction but don't talk about it. Candace's dad leaves their family, and like her mom just completely like emotionally shuts it out and like pretends it doesn't happen. Like they're very much just like put their head down and like just keep going through things because that's just like how they were raised. So like a lot of that you see like in Candace kind of like throughout the book. Like she's not a very empathetic person towards like Gat. She's kind of very like I would say pretty superficial. Like a lot of the book focuses on like very like kind of like romanticized details about like how awesome summers used to be, and while I was spark notesing things, there was like kind of a constant like repetition of just like bringing up like appearances, like how characters look rather than how they acted and stuff like that. And I think it just kind of talks a lot about how the St. Clairs really just value like what they put out there, like how they present themselves rather than who they actually are as people, because like the more you get to know the characters, the more you see like they're very messy, they have very messy backstories, but they like to present themselves like they're very perfect.
And kind of going off of that as well, the grandmother passes away in the very beginning of the book, at least I think towards like the beginning, and then throughout like the flashbacks as time goes on after the grandmother's death, none of the daughters really talk about it. It's like, it's almost like a unspoken rule that you don't bring up the grandmother around the grandfather. Like just nobody wants to talk about their grief and like how they're feeling about the loss and everything like that. But then the mothers, like as time goes on, they start to like argue more, and like more problems become more like prominent in the book almost, and the grandfather like just makes these drastic transformations like to some of the houses, and the girls, like the mothers, are very upset about that, but they won't actually like confront the grandfather. So there's a lot of unspoken tension amongst the mothers and the grandfather, and then those kids, like all of the kids, the littles and the liars, they're all kind of like hearing everything, but none of the adults actually like tell them, and you know, like none of those problems are actually like brought up and discussed. And then the grandfather he's kind of like selling everything off almost, like all of the possessions and like giving things away, and the mothers start bickering about like who gets what because they want the most expensive things, and it's all about like monetary value almost. And yeah, I think
It's in my eye.
is it out? Oh
Wait,
my
hold
goodness.
on, hold on. No, hold on. You go like this.
Did I get it?
Do you want me
Yeah.
to do it? It like kind of looks like it's all over the place. Okay,
Like
I think I
broke
got
apart.
most of it.
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay.
Oh
my
God.
goodness. We're being attacked by the
It's
cottonwoods.
in my eye. Oh my God.
But yeah, I don't. Getting into our more personal reactions of the book.
Yeah, tell me what you thought about the book, Leah.
I really like this book. At times, I thought it was a little repetitive because, you know, it brought up like a lot of those unspoken problems and like that whole dynamic a lot. So, I don't know. And I guess I was just getting a little confused towards the end because like everyone was acting weird and I was trying, like, as the reader, you're kind of trying to figure out what happened to her. Is it Cadence or is it Candace?
Candace.
Candace?
Yeah. Right?
Cadence.
Shit.
Cadence. Hey, it's Cadence.
Cadence.
Apologize for any past mistakes.
This is gonna be a reoccurring thing for the rest of time.
Yeah.
Terrible with names.
Names are hard. And then the very end really throws you for a loop because you understand what happened and it just like really caught me off guard. And I was not expecting that ending. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What did you think, Val?
I also really, really loved it. It was interesting, like, going through and, like, rereading the Spark Notes because it obviously does a little bit of, like, analysis for you. Mm-hmm. But it was very interesting because, like, when I read books like this, there is not another thought going through my head. I am not usually, like, predicting what's happening next. I'm not usually, like, trying to, like, understood, like, I will never see a twist coming. I am the most gullible person when it comes to reading things. So, like, the ending came to, like, it truly was just, like, a absolute shock, and we'll spoil the ending in a little bit.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, it caught me so off guard, came completely as a shock to me, but it was really interesting going through and, like, rereading the Spark Notes, and honestly, I want to go through and reread the book because it's, like, there are so many things that are, like, alluding to the end, and like once you know how it ends, I feel like to go back and reread and be like, oh, this is why she's doing this is why this is happening, like it makes a lot of sense, and I'm like, I hate that all these things go over my head, and yeah. I'm not an analytical person in that sense, but like it's, I don't know, I really liked it. I thought it was good. Yeah. Even like the repetitive thing, I think the reason why it's almost repetitive is I think it's kind of a stylistic choice of like her trying to like remember her memories. So I think it's almost repetitive in the sense that like she's trying to go back and relive things and re-go over things because she can't remember them.
If you had to rate it out of 5, what would you give it?
I'm gonna give it a 4, I think.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah, it was good.
Okay. I'm also gonna give it a 4.
We agree! Yeah. Should we spoil the end now?
Yes.
Alright, you've been warned. I don't know how much we did for spoilers, or I don't feel like we did many like big spoilers early on. Here we're spoiling the whole ending.
Yeah, so beware, you've been warned.
Beware, yeah. So, basically, this accident that happens is... So, the liars essentially are dealing with a lot of like conflict from the adults, and in an act of rebellion, while they were drunk one night, they decide to burn one of the houses down, because there's a lot of fighting like over the property, over like the just over the value of their families, whatever. So yeah, they decide to burn the place down, and in doing so, what is it, Miriam, Johnny, and Gat all die.
And 2 of the dogs.
Yeah. And Cadence Cadence was able to get out. She tried to save them, but she couldn't, and then she just suffered like a lot of memory loss from it.
Yeah.
And it was like kind of like a post-traumatic stress thing. Like her brain was just kind of like forcing those memories out because she didn't want to deal with them.
Mm-hmm.
So throughout the book, why they're acting distant, why like nobody else interacts with these people, why they don't respond to her emails is because they've been dead the whole time.
Yeah.
And every interaction that she has with them during the summer is she's essentially like hallucinating and making it up herself. But for whatever reason, nobody decided to tell her that.
Yeah.
They all were just like, you gotta figure that out on your own.
Yeah.
The book kind of leaves you speechless.
It does. It does. I was so pissed off when I was reading the ending because when it was talking about like how they actually like lit the house on fire, I was so mad at Katie, like at Cadence, because she was on the lower level and everyone else was like in the upstairs, like in other rooms, and she lit it up first. Like that was literally their exit. So she's the reason that they died. And I don't know, I was just so frustrated with that. I did like how the book kind of kept those characters around until she figured out the truth though, and then it was kind of like her saying her piece almost, and like they forgave her for what happened, and it kind of like almost made her feel better. Not better, but you know, like come to terms with things. But yeah, I was just, the ending really just left me speechless, as Val said. Reader's group guide.
What? Should we answer one of these questions?
Yes. When Katie falls in love with Gat, their relationship and his role as an outsider to the family threaten to overturn the social order. In your opinion, what is the real danger of their relationship, and to whom?
For a little bit more context, like we said, Gat is obviously not part of the family, but like he sees the world very differently. In a way, like the older he gets, like he kind of despises the St. Clairs for like how much they value physical things in life, and he's like, there are so many people living in poverty who don't have nearly the same experiences that you guys do, and you take such advantage of that.
Yeah.
So there's very much like a clash, like you know, between the way that Katie and Gat see the world.
As they started to get older, Gat would kind of like explain the way that he was thinking to Katie, and towards like the end, it almost seemed like she kind of started to see it in the way that Gat saw it as well. And the grandfather, every time that it mentioned like Gat in the book and like the grandfather being around at the same time, like you could tell that there was tension, and the grandfather didn't like Gat, and he knew that Gat and Katie were like a thing, and he caught them kissing one day, and he just like, I can't remember how he reacted.
He didn't really do much, but it was very much like disapproving, like, you better watch yourself, like, know your place, like, this is not, I think like the grandfather was kind of like, you don't come from a good enough family, you're not good enough for us, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But
it kind of like, from how I understood it, the grandfather seemed very racist.
But yeah, I think like just the relationships between all of the older adults in the book, like none of them seem to be like super healthy.
No.
So I don't think Katie really like had a good example of like what a relationship should be. So I don't know. I don't think it like ever would have really worked out between them.
No.
Just there's a long family trauma.
Yeah, there is. There's a lot. A lot that they needed to work out.
Yeah.
What else do we talk about?
Can we look up the other two books just because I'm curious?
Yeah.
Oh, it hasn't come out yet.
Oh.
Okay, so there are two other books in the series. Family of Liars is a prequel. I did read that one last summer, and that one focuses on like Candace's mom. Cadence. It focuses, I'm just gonna call her Katie because that's easier.
Yeah.
Focuses on Katie's mom, who struggles with addiction. And then it's also kind of like a love story from her childhood, and then there's like a big secret that they have to cover up.
Okay.
So that one is also kind of an interesting. I not gonna lie, didn't love it.
Yeah.
It was an interesting read, but it was kind of just like a scenario where I was like, we didn't really need a prequel.
Yeah.
It kind of felt like a little bit like a money grab to me, but like,
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
And then there is another one coming out called We Fell Apart. It's coming out in November, and it's continuing the story in the We Were Liars universe. So that seems really vague.
Yeah, it says it offers a new story with the same family. So I don't really know how that's gonna be set up, because it's just gonna be Katie and the Littles, and
I think it's gonna follow the Littles, to be honest.
Yeah, that would make
'cause
sense.
There's also like, this is so kind of random, but like the whole family really kind of struggles with addiction. And I believe there's a part, because Katie is obviously taking a lot of medication after her accident.
Yeah.
And one of them I think is like an opioid, and the two of the cousins are like the Littles are like caught taking it from her.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and the prequel also follows the mom, who also struggles with early addiction.
Okay.
So I like kind of a little bit wonder if it'll like follow the Littles and
Yeah.
kind of like continue that story a little bit.
That would make sense.
Because obviously addiction isn't like the main part of the book, but like it is kind of like a huge part to their characters, and I feel like kind of speaks to like how they see the world a little bit.
Yeah. Overall, the book seems to like kind of highlight how you can have money, but you still have problems.
Yes.
Like having money does not solve your problems. And with this specific family, like, they obviously were wealthy and they just didn't want to admit that they were flawed.
Moral of the story: go to therapy.
Yeah, talk about your problems.
Don't just shove them down.
No. Okay. So this book was also turned into a TV show. There's 1 season and about 8 episodes, and it's on Amazon Prime. So we plan on watching that, and we're gonna give you like a little, I guess, a rundown, or like, I don't know, our takeaways or our thoughts on the show.
We're just gonna kind of compare like what we thought about the show compared to the book.
Yeah.
That's it for the first part. That's
Okay.
it for the book section.
All right. So we'll come back at you with the TV show analysis. Bye.
Bye.
Welcome back to ASMR with Val and Leo.
Maybe it won't pick this up. Oh my gosh.
Okay. So, I guess welcome back to part 2 of our second episode, where
Yay.
we talk about the TV show that was released on Amazon Prime. The show has 8 episodes. Yeah.
Yeah, they're each like an hour long.
Mhm.
Amazon Prime original.
It was just released, what, a week ago?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so
June 18th.
yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, so I think it was like exactly a week and a day. But it's already like the top 10 in 20 different countries. So it's like, it's kind of a hit.
Yeah,
I
highly
think.
anticipated, I think.
Yeah. What are your overall thoughts on the show, Val?
I actually want you to go first.
Okay. All right. That's fair. So, I binged this, so we